Hello students, today we'll discuss about forging tools and kinds of forging process in this lecture, and the topic covers in manufacturing process fourth semester. The first of all, the man hand forging tools are here in this slide and discuss one by one tools as per we can say the drawing or a picture of tools in slides. And the first one, the tongs. That is, we can say here tongs like this, flat tongs and straight and flat tongs and the derivative of ring tongs and various types of tongs there. Gad tongs and flat tongs. And the basic function of the tongs are used mainly for holding work of many sections. And second one, flatter. And the flatter, here we can see the flatter that is figure of the flatter, and flatter is used to give smoothness and accuracy to articles which have already been shaped by fuller and switches. And next one, switch. Switch is a forging tool. Switch is used to reduce finish to round, square, hexagonal form. It consists of two parts, the top part having a handle and the bottom part having a square shank. Like here is a figure of switches here like this, and the top part having a handle and the bottom part having a square shank like this figure. And the next one, anvil. The anvil like this we can see in the slide, that figure of anvil, and that anvil is used for supporting hot job while hammering is done for shaping it into various shapes. It is made of cast steel, that is a one type of forging tool, and the various parts of the anvil we can say, and here is table and hard hall. Here the hall is the hard hall, and the ritual hall in this backside, and in bottom that is a base or feet, and that portion known as uh, wrist, and that portion known as shoulder, and the top portion that name is horn, and that back portion name is heel. These are the many names or parts of the anvil as per this figure. And the swaz block. Swaz block, it is used for holding hot bars during bending, support for punching hole in a job and various holes. That switch block is here. We can see that type of the various sub holes inbuilt in the particular block, like a square, uh, round, rectangular, etc. That basically use of the switch block on the bending and a particular sap converting in the forging. That is one type of a forging tool of the stretch block. And the fullers. Fullers are used for necking down to form depressions. Students, यहाँ पे जो आप देख रहे हैं that type of tool or the forging tool, the that's known as fuller. ये किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट को नैकिंग देने के काम आता है, उसमें किसी तरह का ग्रू बनाने के काम आता है, तो दैट इज वन टाइप ऑफ फॉर्जिंग टूल. Hand hammers, we can see in this slide that figure is a hand hammer that is commonly used in our daily life. And sledge hammers have a different sizes. The both ends are flat like this figure, and that these are known as slash hammers. The punch hammers like this figure, and the one side hand is the sharp or a like this figure, and the one hand is round or a triangular shape like this. That is punch. And in this figure, chisels, the various types of chisels which are used for the cutting of the particular metal sheet or a excess metal on the part. These are also the forging tools, like figures like this slide. And the forging operations, some forging operations here we have earlier discussed, but in this slide we have some discussion about the upsetting. It is the operation by which the thickness cross-sectional area of workpiece is increased at the expense of its length. Like this, there is the steps of the upsetting and the drawing down. It is the operation by which the thickness cross-sectional area of the workpiece is reduced by the increasing length, like this. And the setting down, it is the local thinning operation performed by the set hammers, like this figure. Bending, like that is a bending operation figure here. It is the operation by which the bend many may be either curve, sharp corner can be produced. Bending can be done using beak of anvil like this. And the punching, it is the process of making hole in the workpiece using punch and hammer like this figure, and the hammer and punch and the workpiece and the base. And the welding, it is the process of joining two surfaces of metal under pressure after they are heated to welding temperature, and that welding by done by forging, the beating of the particular object uh, which you want to join the each other. The cutting, it is a form of sizzling where a long piece of stock is cut into several pieces of required length, that are known as cutting, like this. Open die forging. Open die forging, you can see here like this. Here the upper punch or a the upper punch or upper die, and that is a lower die, and that is first one billet, and insert in the uh, upper and lower die and the press like this, and convert this shape this, and then in more than two steps here. This process also known as Smith's die forging or a flat die forging. The operation is carried out between two flat dies of very simple shape, generally between the bottom surface of hammer and the top surface of anvil. The workpiece reduces their height and practically deform by compressing it. The process is used to mostly large objects or when the number of parts produced is small, and to perform the workpiece for close die forging. Tooling is simple, inexpensive, and allow the production of large variety of shapes in this process. Close die forging. This process is also called impression die forging. Like this, the steps of the close forging. This here is dies close and flash inbuilt in between dies, and the upper die. And here is the lower die, and in between here is flash. And this process is also called impression die forging. In this, metal is deformed under high pressure between two dies or in a closed cavity that contain a profile of the desired part. Closed die forging are commonly used where mass production of identical and more complex shapes of greater accuracy are required. The process provides precision forging with closed dimensional tolerance, normally used to smaller components. The type of closed die forging and the closed dies are expensive, and that figure are shown in this slide. You can see that is heated blank in between dies, and that is upper part of the dies, and that is bottom part of dies, and die in the shape of the spanner here, and insert the heated blank here, and the pace by the dies and produces the spanner like this. That is example of the closed die forging. Thank you.